Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are looking at an AI experiment that went wonderfully, beautifully right up until it went disastrously, hilariously wrong. Have you ever built something so incredibly efficient, just flawlessly optimized that it ended up being completely dead? That's what we're exploring today. We're going to see why making your writing perfectly polished might literally be destroying your connection with your audience and exactly how to fix it before you publish your next piece.
$12.43. Yeah, you heard that right. That was the exact moment of failure for the author in our case study today. They spent a full week building this absolute beast of a perfect content machine. We're talking custom instructions, multi-step chains, generating 5 times their normal output. They dropped 7 flawless, grammatically immaculate articles in a single week, and the grand total payout for reaching peak productivity, exactly $12.43. Picture it, right? You're sitting at a dimly lit desk, your laptop fan is just whirring away, your tea has gone completely cold, and you have this sudden crushing realization that you've just automated your way into total irrelevance.
Now, before this little AI experiment, the author actually had a really healthy read ratio. We're talking around 45%. But check out what happened next. Despite the 5x output, 88% of people were clicking the article, reading maybe the first few lines, and then instantly leaving. Their finish ratio absolutely plummeted to a dead 12%. People were still clicking, sure, because the headlines worked, but the second they hit the actual text, their brains threw up a massive red flag. They smelled something synthetic, and they bailed.
Section 1. The Paradigm Shift. The Polish Rote Trap. So what does this all mean? Why did this happen? Well, it really comes down to the philosophical why behind the failure. Because if you're trying to compete with the machine on just being fluent and correct, you are literally running a race you are supposed to lose.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that for years we've been taught that good writing is clean writing. But that brings us to the counterintuitive truth of the AI era, something called polish rot. This is the phenomenon where making your writing perfectly professional actually sands off the friction, the scars, and the specific humanity that makes a reader trust you in the first place. Think about it. Readers don't come to you for pure information anymore. They can get perfectly structured facts from an LLM in 4 seconds flat. They come to you for the human friction.
So, how does this actually change what we write? Well, on one side, we have the classic how-to, a piece titled, say, 5 Ways to Improve Productivity. That's a commodity. It reads like a brochure. But on the other side, we have How I, an article titled, The Tuesday I Realized My Productivity System Was Just a Fancy Way to Procrastinate. Now, that is a confession. And here's the secret. People will always skim a lecture, but they will absolutely lean in and follow a confession.
Which brings us to the ultimate antidote for Polish rot: scar tissue. Real expertise is mostly scar tissue. It's the specific, slightly humiliating texture of having actually tried something. It's the wrong turn you took for 2 years, or the client who fired you over a stupid mistake. And AI has absolutely no scar tissue. It writes from the smooth, perfect mountaintop that it never actually had to climb. To survive as a creator today, you have to write the scar, not the summary.
Section 2. The Framework. Leaving the seams showing. Let's get into some actionable techniques to de-robotize your writing.
When an AI writes, it produces what we can call beautiful gray bricks. Just perfectly even paragraphs, identical lengths, really smooth transitions. It's like a flawless wall with absolutely no handholds. But here's the thing. That wall was built by something that has never, ever had to hold a stranger's attention for a living. Human readers don't just read top to bottom anymore. We skim until something snags us. You have to deliberately break this rhythm. You need to format your text to mirror how a human actually thinks. Give us a short, punchy line. Then, follow it with a long, wandering sentence that maybe even doubles back on itself. Throw in a fragment. This broken rhythm isn't just some formatting hack. It's the authentic sound of a human brain deciding what matters in real time. A machine spaces everything evenly because nothing costs it anything. You space things unevenly because the lesson actually cost you something. And that brings us to the one specific detail rule. Every single section of your writing needs an unfakeable detail. Don't just say, I worked in a busy office. Say, I worked in an office that smelled like burnt popcorn and stale Xerox toner. Anchor your work in a specific Tuesday. Right? Because as the saying goes, if a stranger could have written your sentence, it really isn't yours yet.
Moving on to Section 3, the blueprint, architecture versus art. Because the author didn't quit AI completely, right? They just completely changed how they used it, adopting a strict 80-20 split.
Let's move to and see how this builds across a delegation matrix.
You see, throwing away AI completely would be like a carpenter throwing away their power saw. Instead, you hand over the architecture heavy lifting to the machine. Let it handle keyword clustering and SEO mapping. Let it turn your messy voice notes into a rough skeleton, or use it to play devil's advocate late at night. But you have to guard the art with your life. You keep the specific take or angle. You own the rhythm and cadence of the sentences, the personal anecdotes, the scars. And most importantly, you alone decide what is actually worth saying. Let the machine pour the foundation, but no way do you let it choose what the house is for.
And this is absolutely crucial. The mistake wasn't using the tool. The mistake was letting the tool decide what mattered. Confusing the automation of architecture with the automation of art is really just a different flavor of lazy. Using the tool is totally fine, but outsourcing your taste, your judgment, and your friction, that's a fatal error.
Section 4. The metric, chasing the finish ratio. To actually escape this AI content trap, we have to completely change the way we measure success. We have to stop obsessing over views. Think about it. A view is really just a stranger glancing at your front door. It's a vanity metric. It tells you almost nothing. What actually matters is the finish. That's someone walking into your house and staying for dinner. If a reader actually gets to the end of your piece, they trust you, and true engagement flows entirely from that trust.
So here is a hard metric you can use right now. 30%. You should treat a read ratio or finish ratio under 30% as a code red smoke alarm. If you're dropping below that mark, it means one of two things is happening. Either the polish rot has set in and you're boring them to tears, or your headline wrote a check that your body text just couldn't cash.
To fix this, here is a brilliant, totally counterintuitive tip. Write the headline last. Seriously, do not write it first. Write it only after the piece is completely finished. Why? So you only promise what you actually delivered. Headlines written first are just hopeful promises made by someone who hasn't done the work yet.
And finally, Section 5, your 10-minute humanity audit. This is a highly actionable framework you can apply right now before lunch tomorrow.
You want to use this audit to make sure you haven't automated away your soul. Step 1, find the AIism. This is the mouth test. Basically, read your draft out loud. Any corporate throat clearing that your mouth refuses to say naturally, delete it. AI passes grammar checks, but it fails the mouth test every single time. Step 2, add a because. Don't just list tips out of nowhere, give us the specific personal reason why you do it. And step 3, the ugly sentence. Leave in one sentence that feels just slightly unprofessional but is deeply, undeniably true.
All right, I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge. Go open the last piece of content you published. I want you to scan through it and find the flattest, smoothest, most robotic sentence in the whole thing. The line that literally anyone or any machine could have written. Did you find it? Go ahead and paste it down in the comments. Let's expose the synthetic polish that's holding us back. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, you cannot prompt your way into being worth reading. Catch you next time.